Okay, so I had a few things I was thinking about opening up on this episode, and I was kind of leaning towards doing those Ninja Turtles figures that I need to open up, but I decided I'd rather go back and reread the Ninja Turtle comic book storyline with the Shredder worm clone thing, so I could refamiliarize myself with it. And so I'm gonna wait on that for a minute. And then, of course, I was thinking about maybe the figure that might segue me into doing this. The Batman characters I have to open might be Alfred, but I got this guy from Amazon, and I'm really excited about it. I finally got the Red Hood. So this is a figure that came out a while back, and I was not able to pre-order him anywhere because he sold out so fast. And then he's been like really expensive online lately. Like every time I saw him, he'd be like $50, and I'm like, that's too rich for my blood. Sorry. I really wanted this figure, so I'd keep checking, hoping maybe I'd find him for cheap. And then I saw one that was selling on Amazon for retail price, and I got him today. And it turns out this is a figure that's been previously opened. This guy like peeled the tape off and everything. So I didn't necessarily mind so much that it's been previously opened. It's been taped right here where the package is torn. It's all smushed in over here. I don't care about the packaging. I'm just gonna open it up anyway. So I'm fine with getting it a little cheaper. But what I suspect happened is that this guy opened it up and just took out the figure and probably even kept it in the package mostly. But oh, excuse me. Is there going to be another one? Is there another sneeze? Okay, I think. Wait, wait for it. Don't you just hate that when it feels like you're going to sneeze, but you don't sneeze? Anticipation. All right, so here's the artwork that's on the back, and you can see that this is from the cover of the issue of Detective Comics. I don't remember the issue number, and it doesn't say on the package where the Red Hood first appeared. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Red Hood is the Joker. That was a gimmick that a criminal was wearing that ran afoul of Batman. And basically, this guy worked at a chemical company or playing card company. I forget which one it was. They were adjacent to each other. The Ace Chemical Company and the Monarch Playing Card Company. They kind of, I guess, were like in a duplex kind of building or something. So he wanted to break into one. I think he worked in the chemical company. He was going to break in through the chemical company into the playing card company. It's all very complicated, you know. So but he had this gimmick that he had this kind of metallic dome over his head and called himself the Red Hood. Why did he call himself the Red Hood when he was actually more like the Red Helmet? I have no idea. But anyway, this guy wanted to, just steal $1 million and retire. And Batman caught him in the act, and he wound up falling into the chemical slough thing. And when he came out the other side, went through the drain, came out into the river. He had like a breathing apparatus in the helmet, so he was able to basically scuba dive. Uh, Came out the other side, and he was transformed by the chemicals into the Joker. So that became his new criminal identity, and the whole idea of stealing $1 million and retiring, that kind of fell by the wayside. Now, most of you who, if you're familiar with the Red Hood concept of all, you're probably more familiar with Alan Moore and Brian Bolland's take on it in The Killing Joke, in which the man who would become the Joker was actually like a failed stand-up comedian who was basically being used as a patsy, as a fall guy by these two crooks who had this Red Hood helmet and cape and everything. And they told him, hey, wear a tuxedo and put this on. You're going to be like the leader of our gang for this mission. we give this to the most important guy, since he was the guy who knew the place, because like I said, the playing card company and the chemical factory. Anyway, so this guy, much like the original Red Hood, he wasn't like a career criminal. He just wanted to get enough money to take care of his wife and baby. They don't specify the money amount, but I guess we can assume it's $1 million. But yeah, so pretty much the same as the original Red Hood story, except for instead of being a would be criminal mastermind himself, he's a dupe, he's a patsy, he's a fall guy. So almost immediately, the two crooks were killed by police officers upon breaking into the place, and the Red Hood ran afoul of Batman, falls into the chemical sludge, comes out the other side as the Joker. Captain Half Fun is here, and he says, "I got my new Mcfarlane corn sweat Superman yesterday. He has different faces, but not heads. But you can head swap him." So yeah, like I don't like the swappable faces as much. I guess it saves them some money or something, but I'd probably rather they said alternate heads. I was talking about that in the Guy Gardner opening that I did a while back. Is his ears aren't the same color as his face because of that, and it's just weird. So anyway, when they did the 1989 Batman movie, I guess they decided the whole Red Hood thing was maybe a little complicated, a little out there. Maybe they just wanted to show Jack Nicholson's face some more, which, they're paying enough for Jack Nicholson. They might as well get his actual face in the movie as much as they can. So the whole Red Hood gimmick was gotten rid of, and Jack Napier, as he was now called, just became like a regular gangster. And of course, they didn't go into the origins of the Red Hood in the they didn't go into the origins of the Joker at all in the Dark Knight. Heath Ledger's Joker, by design, is supposed to be a mystery, and they do kind of touch on it with the Jared Leto version of the Joker, but I don't think they talk about the Red Hood aspect of it. They definitely talk about him taking a dive into that pit of chemicals, and of course, they completely ignore that origin in the Joaquin Phoenix version. They had the Jack Napier type origin on Batman the Animated Series, but on that one, they don't actually say his name is Jack Napier. When you see him in the flashbacks, he's just an unnamed criminal hood. Now they did uh, uh, refer to him as Jack Napier in one or two episodes beforehand, but I think they wound up disavowing that later. So I suppose you could just assume that Jack Napier is a criminal alias that the man who would become the Joker used on Batman the Animated Series. Anyway, uh, so yeah, this is a kind of time-honored thing in the comic books. Didn't make it into a whole lot of media afterwards, but one that I really liked was on Batman the Brave and the Bold, where they did their version of the Crime Syndicate universe with Owlman and a bunch of other characters that were more like the regular characters you see on Brave and the Bold at that time. Like Green Arrow became like I think the Blue Bowman, and uh, Blue Beetle was like the Scarlet Scarab, and Red Tornado was the Silver Cyclone. Well, anyway, their world's equivalent of Batman, of course, was Owlman, and his archenemy was the Red Hood, who was their version of the Joker, but a more heroic version. And apparently, he'd been through a similar accident to the regular Joker, and he also was disfigured, but he hid it. He continued to wear his red hood and hid it underneath, and but was you could tell he was barely holding his sanity together. And I really liked that take on the character. Like you don't you see Owlman a lot, but you don't really see a whole lot like his equivalent of the Joker. I know there was one in the Crisis on Two Earths animated, the Jester, but I thought the Red Hood was an interesting take on that. So anyway, let's go ahead and open them up. And I'm going to go from the top this time since it's already opened at the top. I usually like to open my figures from the bottom. Go ahead and make your jokes. And he has a figure, or I'm sorry, a trading card stand. Remember these? Remember the trading card stands? Remember the thing that like gave a little bit of perceived added value to the overpriced collector edition figures, and they stopped doing them. God, I miss these. But there we got the Red Hood, same artwork that we saw on the back from the comic book cover. Here's what the back looks like, and it reads Red Hood, Detective Comics, Data File, Debut, Detective Comics, Volume 1, number 168. That's what issue number it was. February 1951. My mother was not even born yet at that time. Debut, Detective Comics, Volume 1, I read that. The Joker's past remains a mystery, but Batman believes that his nemesis was once the brilliant leader of the Red Hood Gang, a criminal outfit which plagued Gotham City early during Batman's career. After a fall into a vat of chemicals stained his skin white and his hair green, this Red Hood seemed to opt for a career as the Joker, giving in to his every insane impulse. So yeah, like kind of the point of the Killing Joke was to tell the Joker's origin, but keep it ambiguous. And that's why you've got that line in there of somehow, some days I remember it one way, sometimes I remember it the other. If I have to have a history, I prefer it to be multiple choice. But yeah, so it's up to your interpretation exactly how much, if any, of the Joker's origin story that we see in that story is true. Now, Jeff Johns in his Three Jokers miniseries seem to imply that it's all true, but there's been other versions in the comics before. And who's to say his real name isn't Jack Napier? I know they use that name in the White Knight comic also. So, all right, so let's have a look at his accessories and the tape stuck to this one. Yeah, this guy did not take. Like I said, I suspect he took the figure out of the package, but he did not take the accessories out, so they're still taped in. So we got this knife, and that's a really cool looking knife. It's like a. It looks very much like the knife the Joker had in The Killing Joke, where it's this one where the blade pops out, and like a switchblade, not a switchblade that opens up, but a switchblade that like actually pops out of the hilt. And he's got a pickaxe for some reason. Maybe that's a new 52 thing. I don't know. Bobby Wald says if the Red Hood slash Joker, if I was the Red Hood slash Joker, I would be suing like they did that first Incredibles movie. Well, it could be something to happen in some parallel universe out there somewhere. All right, and then the Red Hood comes with a crossbow, which I don't remember the Red Hood ever using a crossbow. Again, that might be like something in like a new 52 comic or later that I just didn't notice. Maybe that was something that they did in those Scott Snyder, uh, Greg Capullo issues. I don't know. But I do remember that the Joker would oftentimes use a crossbow as a weapon in Bronze Age comics. One of my earliest Batman comics that I remember owning as a kid, I don't remember the exact issue number, but if you see a cover with Batman tied to a giant like Joker sculpture carved into a mountain and the Joker about to blow him up, yeah, that's the issue. The Joker used a crossbow extensively in that story, and I think the idea was like the Joker would put his Joker venom, the Smilex as they called it in 1989, that he would put that onto the crossbow bolts and shoot at people that way. So, like I said, I'm pretty sure this figure has been removed from this package before. I suspect that's the case. Very carefully take the costume out of there. There's no rubber tabs or anything holding him in, since, like I said, I'm pretty sure this was opened at some point previously. But I can see where the rubber tabs would have gone, and the little holes through there. So yeah, I suspect that whoever opened this figure just took the figure out, didn't take out any of the accessories, didn't take out the trading card, didn't take out the weapons, and did not take out the figure stand. So let's have a look at the figure stand real quick before we move on to the regular figure. MHD is here, and he says, "Hello, how are you?" I'm doing fine. How are you? Hopefully well. And they're typical of the collector edition. We have a matte black figure stand with a silver DCU logo embossed onto it. Now let's have a look at our Red Hood figure. So one thing I was curious about was this head, and the head is indeed articulated. It rotates around, but I mean, like it's a metallic red cylinder. I don't know. I don't know what will be the point in turning his head because it's going to look the same no matter which way he's pointing. It's not you can see that it is kind of slanted at the bottom, so you can get like a little bit of expression out of it, I guess. He can tilt his head quizzically from side to side because you can do that. And I think it's going to come off. Yep, it's going to come off like any other Mcfarlane figure. Now this is a reuse of the body from the Three Jokers, the criminal. And you can see that he does indeed have pasty, chalk white flesh. Pillhead, says Chowdy Ma. Yeah, like a little Tylenol or something. But you can see the pasty white flesh. So obviously this is after Jack. I'm gonna call him Jack. Took a tumble into into the toxic sludge. Uh, uh, Chowdy Ma says, "We Batman, yes we are." And Bobby Wald says, "Can you imagine a supervillain Taylor response when a villain walks in and says, 'I want my helmet to look like a giant Tylenol pill'?" MHD says, "I'm good too. Hot day though. Yeah, it is. It's been so hot here lately. I'm looking forward to it being winter again because I'd rather be freezing cold than be this hot. Like if I gotta if those are my only two options, I'll take freezing cold. At least I can put on a sweater or something." All right, so and since the helmet is removable, the cape is removable. You can see it's just a simple little hole through here to hold the cape on. It's wired all the way around, which is really nice. And the helmet holds the hood on very tightly. And he is wearing the tuxedo, but he does not have a bow tie like he usually has with his dinner jacket. He's got the same sort of like little ribbon type of tie like the Joker usually has. But like I said, they reused the body from the criminal Joker, so that's why. So let's go ahead and talk about his articulation a little bit. We'll put them back together so we can have them all together while we do that. So not much articulation to speak of on the head. Technically, it's that same sort of ball joint. You do have a little up and down movement. You can rotate it all the way around. You know, you kind of can tilt it a little bit, but not much. If you want a tilted head, it probably actually works better just to turn the head, and then it looks like a tilted head. But but yeah, less articulation on the head than we're used to, but that's to be expected. Just the design of this helmet is going to do that. Captain Half Fun says the cape looks plastic, but it's wired. Cool. Well, it's not plastic. It is like a shinier, more satiny material, like they often use with Batman capes. You know how like the Batman capes are usually pretty shiny in the Mcfarlane figures. Like with Superman and Supergirl, they tend to use more like the kind of jersey material, and it's not shiny. But with Batman, they tend to use more, I guess, because of Adam West. I'm gonna say it's because of Adam West, but that's why it's a little shinier than usual. But you can get some cool poses out of it with the wires. It is fairly light, and even though it's not like permanently attached to the figure. I kind of feel like the helmet at least holds it on well enough so you can get some good poses out of it. So the arms, of course, rotate all the way around at the shoulders, and they move up about that far. He does have the butterfly joints, but it's not going to do a whole lot of good because of the jacket. But you can get some back and forth and up and down kind of movement out of it like that. He does have a bicep sole, so the bicep rotates all the way around. So you got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Now, he's got the cool Mcfarlane wrist articulations. The wrists rotate all the way around, and you can move those around any which way you want. I don't know. McFarlane is kind of weird about how they decide to use these wrist joints because they gave him black wrist joints, and I have no idea why. Because there should be no black there whatsoever. We already saw he's got white skin. He's wearing a white shirt. He's wearing white gloves. Why is there black in the middle? Why did they make this decision? Crazy. So he does have, I think, typical McFarlane weight, abs and torso articulation underneath, whatnot. But because of the jacket, it's going to be hard to get it to move around whichever way. But you can at least rotate them all the way around at the waist, move the torso back a little bit, forward a little bit, side to side a little bit. But the rubber jacket, that's going to hold it up. Chani Ma says, if I were villain, this would be my getup. Yeah, it's more classy maitre d than biker thug. And he also says, kind of reminds me of Mysterio. So oh hey, I just noticed like you got your old name back because you'd lost your old name for a minute for there, didn't you? I'm not hallucinating that, am I? So well, that's cool then. That's good. I'm glad of that. So Red Hood can kick up about that far. You do get like a little bit of wiggle room here, but not a whole lot. He's got double jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. And then he's got ankle articulation with the cool McFarlane ball joint, but of course, because of the pants leg, Earth Dude's here. Yeah, see? That's what I thought. All right. So yeah, because of the pants leg, it kind of hinders the articulation a little bit. So his foot can point down about that far, point up about that far. It does rotate all the way around, but you're going to it's going to put some pressure on these joints and might pull the whole thing apart. So just be careful with it. So whenever you do that. So and then he's got toe articulation just to show off. So let's go ahead and have a look at him with some of these accessories. First, let's try the crossbow. I think it's a little smaller than the Huntress's crossbow, but probably more accurate to the size she would have, actually. But there he is with the crossbow. They're not allowed to have firearms, but I don't really remember the Red Hood is ever using any firearms anyway, so I don't really mind that so much. I don't remember him having a crossbow either, but I'm not going to complain about an extra accessory, especially one that, like I said, I feel like it does actually have like a little bit of Joker pedigree to it. And we got the knife. So let's go ahead and put that knife in his hands. And like I said, it's very similar to the knife that he uses in The Killing Joke. And I think he also uses a similar knife in the Mad Love graphic novel, which is one of my favorite Batman comics of all time. I'm not as big a fan of the Killing Joke as a lot of people are. I think the artwork is beautiful. The story's pretty good. It's probably the worst comic book story I've ever read from Alan Moore. Which that sounds like I'm talking bad about it, but honestly, the worst Alan Moore comic book story is still better than most people's best comic book story. So, and even Alan Moore said, "Yeah, I was just in a really bad mood when I wrote that." That was when he was going through his divorce. But yeah, even Alan Moore's worst story is still pretty damn good. I'm not saying I don't like The Killing Joke. It's a good comic, but I don't quite put it on as much of a pedestal as most people. It might make my top 10 Batman comics, but it wouldn't be my number one. I think for a lot of people, it would be like in their top three. I probably wouldn't have it quite that far, but it'd probably make my top 10. I wish that Alan Moore had written more Batman. But I can say that about most great comic writers. So, Bobby Wald says, you think Batman can easily figure out who the Red Hood is? Obviously, he's going to be a person with a skinny, tall head and not someone like Stewie Griffin. That would narrow it down a little bit, wouldn't it? In the Three Jokers comic, Batman actually did figure out who the Joker was and has known for quite some time. But I'm not sure if that's considered canon or not at this point. And frankly, it kind of conflicts with me with what Jeff Johns had written with Batman asking the Mobius chair who the Joker was in Rebirth. I'm kind of confused as to how all that fits together. But yeah, technically in that story, Bruce had figured out who the Joker was long ago, and had actually, I won't see too much about it in case anybody here wants to read it that hasn't. But let's just say that in that version of the story, as I mentioned before, Jeff Johns definitely believes absolutely that the Joker origin story we see in Killing Joke is the correct one. All right, so that's two of the three accessories out of the way. Let's go ahead and put this pickaxe in his hands. And that's a nasty looking accessory. I think I've seen this accessory before, but I can't remember where. So but I'm pretty sure I've seen this before. It looks familiar. Like maybe another Joker figure came with it. And he's got an open hand on his left hand, but you can still kind of pose it into like a two-handed pose, I think. So let's try to do that. Even though he can't grip it, you can still kind of place it around the handle of the pickaxe and have him look like he's got it in two hands. So all right, so that's our Red Hood figure. I'm pretty happy with how this figure turned out. Like I said, I'm a big fan of this part of the Batman mythos, and I've always really liked the Red Hood concept. Uh, but but it's one that kind of falls by the wayside a lot of the times. Like I'd mentioned, it doesn't really make it into outside media very much. You had it on The Brave and the Bold. You had it in obviously the animated adaptation of The Killing Joke fitted in there. But a lot of the times they just kind of skip over the Red Hood aspect of the character. Even when they show him being thrown into the chemicals, they usually don't have him wearing a shiny red helmet when they do it. So maybe it's to make it more realistic. Maybe it's just to simplify the storyline. Maybe it's just because they want to see more of Jack Nicholson's face. I couldn't possibly tell you. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the Red Hood. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next episode, I'm definitely going to go ahead and open up Alfred because I'm only going to open him up for a while. And we've got a lot more cool Batman stuff to come. We got the Scarecrow. I finally found what I did with him because I misplaced him somewhere. Got the Purple Batman, so we'll be opening up Purple Batman. We got Batman Year 2. We got on the way, being shipped to me currently, is the new wave of the Mcfarlane Toys Digital. So that's going to have a lot of Batman characters in it. That's like an all Batman wave, pretty much. You got spoiler, you got Nightwing in his original costume, the No Man's Land version of Batman, and DC's Monarch, who is technically not a Batman character, but I'll get into that. Bobby Wald says, I like the Red Hood storyline in the Gotham series. Yeah, I can't say that I've seen that one. So, because I haven't seen the whole show, so I'll have to check that out, see how they handled that. I've been meaning to go back and watch the rest of that show for a long time. I only watched like I think the first couple of seasons, and then just got distracted by other. Oh, take care of yourself, Chowdy Ma. But yeah, so next episode I'll be back with Alfred. I'm gonna have all those Batman figures to open up that are coming in the mail soon. Hell, I got even more Batman figures that are coming because they haven't shipped yet. But there's the other McFarlane wave coming up that's got the Kelly Jones Batman, Troika Batman, and Batwing, and the red and black version of Azrael Batman. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of that, please make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Red Hood, both the character in general and this figure specifically. What are some of your favorite storylines that deal with the Red Hood and the origin of Joker? And what do you think is the best version of the origin of the character? Is it a better idea to just leave as much of the character in mystery, or would you rather definitively know who this guy is and where he came from? It's an ongoing debate. I think more people lean towards the mystery though, as I kind of like the mystery aspect personally, just because it leaves more open to audience, the audience's participation. Basically, the audience's interpretation is that you can decide, is his real name Jack Napier? Is that just a name he made up? Maybe his name's something completely else and we just don't know it. Maybe his name's Alan Belk. I don't know. No. I wouldn't look good as the Joker because, first of all, do you really want a bald Joker? Second of all, do you really want a Joker with a beard, like a green beard? That'd be creepy. Anyway, have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye.